6 a.m. on this Monday morning. Thanks so much for starting off your day with us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. Well, before we get to weather, we want to show you this. Right now, the National Weather Service says we are expecting, I hate to say it, the S word, snow in the mountains. It's not all bad in the mountains, right? Meteorologist Thomas Patrick joining us now from the KREM 2 Weather Center. Thomas, I guess if there is any snow, that's where we would want it right now. So tell us more about the weather impact and whether it'll impact travel for anyone going over mountain passes. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And first of all, I just want to say that the snow levels are 4,000 feet and above. So this has no impact on the lower elevations, of course. And really the one pass that's going to get hit the heaviest is Washington Pass, the North Cascades Highway. So that's Highway 20 through that northern stretch of the Cascades. Washington Pass is going to get a fair amount of snow during the morning hours here, but not even Snoqualmie Pass is going to get any snowfall. They're a little bit too low of elevation. And what about here locally? Well, notice how there's a huge difference between all the snow that we're seeing over the Cascades versus everything just getting quieter over North Idaho. So if Lookout Pass gets any snow, it's just going to be a blip on the radar for today. So shouldn't be anything too worrisome for today. Current temperatures are right at 40 degrees in Spokane, a mix of 40s and 30s across the inland Northwest.
All right, we are taking a live look outside, preparing you for your morning commute right now. We're taking a live look at I-90 and Hamilton. Right now, traffic is definitely moving along smoothly, but you can tell there are quite a few more cars out at 6 a.m. as there were at 5 a.m. We'll keep an eye out on the traffic situation for you, though, all morning long and let you know if anything changes.
Today at noon, the Highbridge Dog Park reopens. It replaces the unofficial South Hill Dog Park.
So this morning, KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is joining us live to tell us more about the lead up to today's reopening. Good morning, Brandon.
Yeah, good morning, Tim Channing. And as you mentioned, that soft reopening is taking place today at noon. The full renovations and the completed project is expected to be done by spring of 2025. So if you start going as of today at noon, you'll likely still see some construction ongoing. But a couple of months back ago, we reported on this Highbridge Dog Park renovation project, and before it went down and closed. Since then, the dog park has received new, large, and small dog areas, fencing, gates, and both improved entry and exit, along with an ADA accessible dog park area. Other improvements include expanded paved parking and surfacing improvements. As mentioned, this is just the soft opening today, so looking ahead, new seating, shelter, water fountains, and improved lighting will all be added by spring, with several other updates expected. Another note on this renovation, Highbridge officially serves as one of the two replacements for the unofficial South Hill Dog Park that was displaced by construction of Pepperzak Middle School. Earlier this month, a smaller neighborhood dog park opened on the South Hill. That's on the corner of 63rd and Regal. So with both of these new projects, Spokane Public Schools actually funded both of them, but the City of Spokane Parks and Recreation Department will completely operate them as they have reopened. But for now, reporting live here in Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
It is 6:04. Let's take a look at today's top stories. The man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students is trying to have the possibility of the death penalty removed from his upcoming trial. Brian Koberger's defense team had a flurry of filings on Friday. They included a new motion to strike the state's intent to seek the death penalty. Koberger's team claims the death penalty is unconstitutional. A judge is scheduled to hear death penalty arguments on November 7th. This morning, an update on a story we've been covering for months. There will be no charges for a Spokane police officer who shot and killed a man at a North Spokane Walmart last December. We learned the Spokane County prosecutor determined Officer Carl Richardson was justified in his use of deadly force. The officer shot and killed Kerry Jones Hilberg during a fight as he and another officer were trying to arrest him on suspicion of shoplifting. Microsoft fired 2 employees this week who organized an unauthorized vigil at the company's headquarters in Redmond. The event on Thursday was to honor Palestinians killed in Gaza during Israel's war with Hamas. Both workers told the Associated Press they were fired during a phone call later that day. The 2 employees were members of a coalition of employees called No Azur for Apartheid. The group opposes Microsoft's sale of its cloud computing technology to the Israeli government. On Friday, Microsoft said they, quote, ended the employment of some individuals in accordance with its internal policy. The company did not share any other details. That is a look at some of today's top stories.
I formally apologize as President of the United States of America for what we did. I formally apologize.
On Friday, President Joe Biden formally apologized for the country's role in forcing Indigenous children into boarding schools. More than a dozen of those schools were located in Washington state. Now, in an effort to bring you more to every story, we reached out to the Coeur d'Alene tribe to talk more about the president's apology.
It memorializes it and says, yes, this happened to Indigenous people and we are sorry for that. And, you know, let's make sure that it doesn't happen again. It was horrible. It was horrific. You wouldn't wish that on anybody, you know, to be beaten, you know, with a stick, you know, to have your hair cut, to have your mouth washed out with soap, you know, these things were horrific.
According to the U.S. Department of Interior, in our region, there were 17 boarding schools in Washington, 7 schools in Idaho, and 19 in Montana.
The Washington State Cougars are now ranked in the AP Top 25 poll. After Saturday's victory over San Diego State, the Cougs are ranked at number 22. It is their first AP ranking this year. It marks the first time WSU has been ranked since week 7 of last season. The Cougs' only loss of the season this year came from 15th ranked Boise State. So we're rooting for Boise State as Cougs. WSU enters their second bye week of the season and will return to action on November 9th when they host Utah State at Gaza Field. And it's a game, by the way, you can only watch on KSKN 22. So don't forget, KSKN 22 is the spot to watch local college football this season. You can watch the Cougs play Oregon State on November 23rd and then Wyoming on November 30th.
At 6:07, another look at our weather forecast, where today should be a lot more calm compared to yesterday, where yesterday we had wind gusts almost up to 40 miles per hour here in Spokane. Still a little bit breezy this morning, about a 10 to 15 mile per hour wind at the moment, but it is going to be a lot calmer overall. Current temperature at 40 degrees isn't too bad for late October, to be honest. High temperatures 40s and 50s. That's average for October weather. In fact, temperature-wise, we're pretty much near average to finish out the month, including on Halloween. But what you're noticing is there is quite a few rain chances. So coming up, I'll go day by day and detail what these rain chances look like and at what hours they might be most likely. So that's all coming up.